Hey guys, so today we're going to do Cambridge IGCSE paper 3-4, paper code 0580 for major in 2024. I'm going to do the second variant, and for someone who doesn't understand like this, if you're someone who has been looking for the marking schemes for this paper, you're in the right place. So let's go. Question 1 says that from the list of numbers, write down a factor of 21. So factors of 21 are 3, 7, 21, and 1. And as you can see, we have a 7 over here. A square number. A square number is a number that you get by multiplying the same number twice. So for example, 2 times 2 is 4. So since we're multiplying 2 to itself, that's giving us 4. So 2 times 2 is basically 2 square. So that's a square number. So in our list of numbers, the square number that we have is 49. Because 7 squared, which is 7 times 7, is 49. Then next they're asking for a prime number. So prime number is a number that is divisible by 1 and itself, which means like it doesn't have other factors. So the only factors it will have is itself and number 1. So we know 6 is 3 times 2 and 6 times 1, so that is not a prime number. 7 is a prime number because 7 is only divisible by itself and 1. 10 is not a prime number because 10 is 5 times 2 and 10 times 1. Same with 12. 4 times 3, 6 times 2, 12 times 1. 18 is also 9 times 2, 6 times 3, 18 times 1. Same with 32 and 63. So the only prime number we have over here is 7. 49 is also not a prime number because it's divisible by 7, 49, and 1. Part B says, find the value of the cube root of 1728. So for the cube root of 1728, you just plug this in the calculator. And that's going to give you 12. 2 to the power of 5 is 2 multiplied 5 times 2 itself. So that's basically 32. 5 to the power of 0. Okay, so always remember this, that whenever anything is raised to the power of 0, the value of the term is equal to 1. So 5 to the power of 0 is 1. A fraction to the power of 0 is also 1. A negative number to the power of 0 is also 1. So remember, anything raised to the power of 0 is equal to 1. Then 36 to the power of 1 over 2 is basically square root of 36, which is plus minus 6. So even if you write positive 6 over here, that will also be correct. Part C says one pair of brackets. Part C says put one pair of brackets into this calculation to make it correct. To make the calculation correct, we're going to put the brackets between 6 and minus 2. Why? Because 6 minus 2 is 4. Then we're going to have 3 times 2 minus 6 divided by 2. Remember, we're following the rules of BODMAS or BIDMAS or PEMDAS, whatever you call it. First, you solve the brackets. So we did the brackets first. We don't have any exponents, so we're not going to do the second one. We did brackets. Now we have division. So we're going to do 4 divided by 2, which is basically 2. So division is done. Now multiplication. 6 minus 2. Done. And then we have no addition but subtraction. So that's 4. So as you can see, when you put the brackets around 6 minus 2, we get 4 as the answer. Next part says find the lowest common multiple of 30 and 68. So for this, we're going to draw this easy diagram where we write 30 over here and 68 over here. So we need to pick a number that divides both 30 and 68. So we know 30 is divisible by 2 and 30 is divisible by 68. So that's 15 over here and we have 34 over here. Now 15 and 34 aren't divisible by the same number. So what we're going to do is that we're going to pick a number that divides 15. So we know that 15 divided by 3 is 5. 34 comes as it is. And then 5 divided by 5 is 1. Now to break down 34, it's divisible by 2. So that's 17. And 17 is only divisible by itself. So what we're going to do is now we're going to multiply all of these numbers together. And the product of these numbers is going to be the LCM. So that's going to be 2 times 3 times 5 times 2 times 17, which is basically equal to 1020. That is your answer. Question number 2 says simplify. So we're going to collect the like terms, and in this case, all of the terms are like terms. All of them have the variable a, and all of them have the variable a raised to the same power. So which means we can add or subtract all of the terms. 5a minus 6a is negative a. So negative a plus 3a is 2a. That's your answer. Then 6x squared minus 6x minus 4x squared minus x. So like terms over here are 6x squared and 4x squared and 6x and x. So that's going to be 6x squared minus 4x squared minus 6x minus x. So that's going to be 2x squared minus 7x. That is your simplified answer. Next part says, find the value of c squared plus d squared, where c equals to 7 and d equals to negative 5. So we're going to substitute c as 7 and d as negative 5. So that's 49 plus 25. Always remember, when you're multiplying two negative integers, the result is positive. That's why negative 5 squared is positive 25. So now 49 plus 25 equals to 74. That's your answer. Part C says the time t minutes to cook a chicken with a mass of n kg is t equals to 35m plus 20. Make m the subject of the formula. So we have t equals to 35m plus 20. First, we're going to take 20 to the other side. So that's t minus 20 equals to 35m. The reason why I did not take 35 to the other side first is because 35 is being multiplied to the variable that we're trying to make the subject. So it's always advised, whatever is being added or subtracted, take that first to the other side, and then take the one that's being multiplied or divided to the other side. So now we will divide both sides by 35 to get rid of the 35 with m. So that's going to be t minus 20 over 35 equals to m. That is your answer. Next part says, find the mass of a chicken that takes 83 minutes to cook. So simple. We know that t is in minutes, so we're going to use the same value for time. In case it was in hours, remember that you have to convert it into minutes first and then substitute it. So it's going to be 83 minus 20 over 35, which is basically equal to 1.8 kg. That's your answer. Next part says, solve these simultaneous equations. You must show all your working. So the first equation is 5x minus 6y equals 24. And the second one is 15x plus 8y equals to 33. So whenever we have a set of simultaneous equations, if this is asking us to solve it algebraically, you can either do substitution method or the elimination method. Substitution method is advised when like one of the variables has a coefficient of 1. So it's easier to like make it the subject and then replace it in the other equation. In our case, since both the variables x and y have a coefficient greater than 1, so I'm going to opt for the elimination method. So for the elimination method, what we're going to do is we're going to pick a variable that we want to eliminate first. I'm going to pick x. Now, why am I picking x? If we look at the coefficients, x has the coefficient of 5 in the first equation and 15 in the second equation. It would be easy to turn 5 into 15 because 5 times 3 is 15. However, for y, we have 6 in the first one and 8 in the second one. For both the equations, what we'll have to do is we'll have to multiply the first by 8 and the second by 6 so that the coefficient becomes 48 for y in both the equations. So your goal is to always save time and choose the path that makes it easier for you to solve the equation and be more quick as well. Hence, I'm going to pick x and multiply the first equation by 3. So that's 15x minus 18y equals to 72. Let's call this equation 3. So now we're going to solve equation 3 with equation 2. So 15x plus 8y equals to 33. Now that we've decided that we're eliminating x, and we've also made the coefficient for x equal in both the equations, next step is to see what is the sign of the variable that we're trying to eliminate. We're eliminating x over here, so let's just highlight that over here. As you can see, x is positive in the first equation and in the second equation. So if we added the two equations, what we would get is 30x. But if we subtracted the two equations, we would get 0x. So always see if the variable that you're trying to eliminate has the same sign in both the equations, then you will always subtract. If they have opposite signs, then you will always add. So same signs, we always subtract. And if we have opposite signs, we add. So going back to the equation, we're going to subtract the two. So that's minus 15x minus 15x is 0. Negative 18y minus 8y is negative 26y. And 72 minus 33 is 39. So y would be 39 divided by negative 26, and that's going to be negative 1.5. Now that we have the value of y, we can substitute that into either of the equations, 1, 2, or 3, to get the value of x. I'm going to pick the first equation again because the numbers are smaller in there and it's easy to solve. So it's going to be 5 times 5x minus 6 times negative 1.5 equals to 24. So that's 5x plus 9 equals to 24. 5x equals to 24 minus 9, which is basically 15. So x is 3. So when y is negative 1.5, x equals to 3. That is your answer. Question 3 says diagram shows 4 quadrilaterals A, B, C, and D on a 1 centimeter square grid. So these are your quadrilaterals. Write down the mathematical name of quadrilateral A. So if you look at quadrilateral A, we can see that we have 2 parallel sides over here and 2 non-parallel sides. So in a shape, if we have 2 parallel sides, that means it's a trapezium. In the case there were 2 sets of parallel sides, then it's a parallelogram, a square or a rectangle, depending on how it looks like. So next part says find the area of quadrilateral A. So for the area of quadrilateral A, what we will do is we will see what's the length of each side. So we know this is 2, and this is 3, and the height is 3. Now, the trapezium has the area of 1 over 2 times the height times sum of parallel sides. So we know over here it's going to be 1 over 2 times 3, which is the height. And these are the parallel sides. So that's 2 plus 3. So that's basically 1 over 2 times 3 times 5, which is equal to 7.5 centimeters square. An alternative method is that you could have counted the squares inside the shape. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7, and this is half, so 7.5. But to be precise, you can just use the formula. And as you can see, we have the same answer. Measure the perimeter of quadrilateral A. So for the perimeter, we have 2, we have 3, we have 3. For this part, we know that this portion is 1 and this portion is 3. So you can use Pythagoras to find the length of the hypotenuse over here, or the slant length. So that's going to be 3 square plus 1 square equals to x square. So that's 9 plus 1 equals to x square. Square root of 10 equals to x. And the perimeter would be 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus root 10, which is basically 8 plus root 10. That is your perimeter for the quadrilateral A. Next part says, describe fully the single transformation that maps quadrilateral A onto quadrilateral B. So if we compare quadrilateral A with quadrilateral B, we can see that it's a translation. Why? Because the size of the shape is exactly the same, and so is the direction of the shape. So let's pick a point on shape A and the corresponding point on shape B. Let's compare the coordinates. So this point has the coordinates of -3 and 4. And this one has the coordinates of 6 and -3. So if we compare it, -3 to 4 is going to 6 and -3. So to go from -3 to 6, you're clearly adding 9. And to go from 4 to -3, you're subtracting 7. To describe fully the single transformation that maps quadrilateral A onto quadrilateral B, is a translation by a vector of 9 and -7. Next, we're talking about a single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle C. Now, talking about the transformation that maps quadrilateral A onto quadrilateral C, if you notice, it's a reflection. And the reflection is basically happening with the line y equals to -3. Why? Because if we count the points between this and this, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the mirror line will be exactly in between these 8 units, which is over here at y equals to -3. So quadrilateral A to quadrilateral C is a reflection in the line y equals to -3. Reflection in the line y equals to -3. Next part is quadrilateral A onto quadrilateral D. So for A onto D, there's a change in direction of the shape, which means it's a rotation. The rotation is going to be 90 degree clockwise because we're going in the clockwise direction. 90 degrees clockwise rotation. Now talk about the center of rotation. If you pick this point and the corresponding point on D, this point is 1 unit vertically from the y-axis and 2 units horizontally. For this, it's the other way around. It's 2 units vertically and 1 unit horizontally, which means your center will be over here at 0, 0. Then lastly on the grid, enlarge quadrilateral A by the scale factor of 2, center -3, -3. Center for shape is at -3, -3. This is our center of enlargement. Scale factor is given as 2. So if we look at this point over here, that's 1 unit horizontally and 1, 2, 3, 4 units vertically. So that's going to be 2 units horizontally because you multiply the scale factor with the horizontal and vertical distance, and 8 units vertically. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then for this point over here, that's 2 units horizontally and again 4 units vertically. So that's going to be 4 units over here at -7 and then 8 over here. Now this distance is 3 units, so that's going to be 6 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is 2, so that's going to be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can easily just connect the dots. And this is our enlarged shape. Question 4 says Anton records the number of pets owned by each of 50 families. The table shows some of his results. There are twice as many families with 4 pets than with 5 pets. So since there are twice as many families with 4 pets than with 5 pets, so 5 it's going to be x, for 4 it's going to be 2x. So 2x and x over here. Total number of families is 50. So we put 50 equal to the sum of the number of families. 5 plus 12 plus 15 plus 9 plus 2x plus x. That is basically 50 equals to 41 plus 3x. Then 50 minus 41 equals to 3x, which is equal to 9. And x is 3. So if x is 3, this is going to be 3 and this is going to be 6. 2x is 6. Question 2 says complete the bar chart. Let's write on the values first. 0, 5, 1, 12, 2, 15, 3, 9, 4, 6, and 5, 3. So they've already drawn for 0, 5. So for 1, 12, it's going to be like this. 215 is going to be this. 39 is going to be four, 6 is going to be, and 5, 3 is going to be this one. That is your bar chart. Then it says write down the mode and calculate the mean. So mode is the highest frequency And if you go back to the table, highest frequency is for 2 pets. So that's 2. Then calculate the mean. So mean is basically your average. So for the average, we will need our values again. Mean is going to be 0 times 5 plus 1 times 12 plus 2 times 15 plus 3 times 9 plus 4 times 6 and lastly plus 5 times 3. And all of this is divided by the total number of families, which is 50. Basically, the number of pets are your X and the number of families is your F. So sigma Fx over sigma F is your formula for mean. And sigma Fx basically shows the product of frequency and the X value being added to each other. That's why it's sigma. Sigma means sum. So once you solve this, what you should get is 2.16. That is your mean value. Part B says 80 of the pets owned by the families are cats, rabbits, or hamsters. The table shows the number of each pet. So we have the type of pet, we have the number of each pet, and we have the pie chart sector angle that we have to calculate. So for that, for cats, it's going to be 38, which is the number of cats, divided by the total pets, which is 80, and multiply that by 360 because you're trying to find the angle. If they were trying to find the percentage, you would multiply the fraction by 100 instead. For angle, always multiply the given fraction by 360. So for cats, it's going to be 171. For rabbits, it's going to be 28 divided by 80 times 360, which is basically 126. And then for hamsters, it's 14 over 80 times 360, which is basically equal to 63. So these are your angles. Now for the pie chart, what you would do is you would use your protractor to draw these angles. So what we're going to do is I'm going to draw a circle over here first. This is our circle. So the angles we had were 171, 126, and 63. Cat, 171 degrees. Rabbits, 126 degrees. And hamsters, 63 degrees. So center is going to be here, hopefully. Okay. So what they did was they drew a line. This is the line that we have. So I'm going to take my protractor. Okay, so what you'll do is you put this in the center over here and draw 171. So 171 is going to be, if you start over here from 0, that's somewhere over here. Yeah. So now let's remove the protractor. Bring the ruler again. And we're going to draw our line over here. Kind of time consuming doing it online and much easier if you're doing it on paper. all of this, that's for cats. This is 171. Okay. Now for the other ones, 126. Going back to the protractor and seeing where 126 will go. 126 is going to be this one. Okay, so this is your 126, and this is your 63. One 26, 63. So that's cats, that is your rabbits, and that's your hamsters. So that's how you will draw your bar chart. Question 3 says one of the pets is chosen at random. Find the probability that a rabbit is chosen. So if you go back to the number of rabbits, that's 28 out of 80. So the probability would be 28 out of 80, which can be simplified to 14 over 40, which can further be simplified to 7 over 20. So that is your answer. Question 5 says the diagram shows a pair of parallel lines in a straight line. Write in the mathematical name for this type of angle marked 125. So 125 is an obtuse angle. Why? Because obtuse angles are greater than 90 degrees and acute angles are less than 90 degrees. And reflex angles are greater than 180. Next part says give the geometrical reason why the value of x is 125. The value of x is 125 because in parallel lines, alternate angles are equal. So alternate angles are equal in parallel lines. Part B says diagram shows 3 straight lines. Find the value of y. Write in the geometrical reason. Write in the geometrical properties needed to find the value of y. So for y, firstly, this is going to be 58. Why? Because vertically opposite angles are equal. So that is the first reason. Second reason is that sum of angles of a triangle equals 180, which means y is going to be 180 minus 70 minus 58, which is going to give us 52. So that is the value of y, and these are your reasons. Part C says the diagram shows a circle, center O with diameter AOB. The line CDE touches the circle at D with angle DOB equals to 74. Write in the mathematical name of the line CDE. So CD is a tangent. Why is it a tangent? Because a tangent is a line that touches the circle at its circumference. It never intersects the circle. It's always touching it at its circumference. Now, as you can see, CDE is touching the circle at its circumference. Hence, it's a tangent. Next part says work out the angle ODB. So ODB is this angle. Now, always remember if there's a line coming through the center and going towards the circumference, that is the radius, which means this, this, and this. All these 3 lines are the radius. And since it's the radius, that means this is going to equal to this. It's going to be equal to this. OD is equal to OB and OA. Now that we've established what the radius is and how and why it's equal, now I want you to see that we have this triangle over here, triangle OBB. And in this triangle, this is 74, and these two lengths are equal. So if you go back to the shape properties that you've learned before, whenever you have a triangle which has two equal sides, it will have two equal angles as well. And that triangle is called the isosceles triangle. So which means these two angles are going to be equal. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the sum of triangles formula to find the value of ODB. So that means 180 minus 74 equals to 2x. Let's call these x. So 180 minus 74 is basically 106. So 106 divided by 2 is going to give us 53 degrees. That is your angle ODB. ODB. Work out the angle BDE, give a geometrical reason for your answer. So BDE, this is the angle that they're asking us to find. So another thing about tangents and circles is that when a tangent is touching the circumference of the circle, that the angle that it makes with the radius is always 90, which means this is a 90-degree angle. So if we already know this angle, which is 53, and we know that angle ODE is 90, so BDE is going to be 90 minus 53, which is basically 37. Once again, the angle that the tangent makes with the radius is always 90 degrees. We have a part of that angle which is 53, and we found that in the previous part. So when we subtract 53 from 90, that gives us the remaining angle, which is 37. So that is your answer. Find the interior angle of a regular 15-sided polygon. So interior angle and a regular 15-sided polygon. The formula is n minus 2 times 180 divided by n. Now n is your number of sides, which is 15. So 15 minus 2 times 180 over 15, and that equals 156 degrees. That's your answer. Question 6 says complete the table of values for y equals to negative x squared plus 8x plus 1. So we're going to substitute the values of x in the equation. When we substitute x equals to 0, we get 1. When we substitute x equals to 1, we get 8. X equals to 3 gives us 16. X equals to 5 gives us 16 again. And x equals to 7 will give us an 8 again. So as you can see, the values for y are exactly the same, which means we have a quadratic curve. And the line of symmetry is x equals to 4. So next, what they're asking us to do is to sketch the graph. So let's write down the coordinates first. Okay, so let's sketch this. So 0, 1 is going to be over here. 1, 8 is this one. 2, 3, D. 316. Four 17. Five 16. Six 13. Eight. Lastly, 8 1. Okay. So now that we finally have our graph after I've gone blind, for sure. So let's connect the dots. And that is not neat. Okay, that's the best job I can do right now. So this is a quadratic graph. And please don't tell me we have to do more with this, because I honestly cannot see anything. And yes, we have to. A straight line has a gradient of 1 over 2 and passes the point 27. So we have to draw the line for that. Gradient 1 over 2 and passes to the point 27. Okay, so y equals to like y minus 7 equals to 1 over 2 times x minus 2. I'm going to use the point slope form. So 2y minus 14 equals to x minus 2. 2y equals to x plus 14 minus 2. 2y is x plus 12. So y is 1 over 2x plus 6. So now we sketch this. So we already know 2, 7 is a point on the line. So 2, 7, 2, 1. And next point we can say is at x equals to 8, y would be 1 over 2 times 8 plus 6, which is 4 plus 6, and that is 10. And then at x equals to 0, y would be 6. So one point is over here, and another point is going to be over 8 and 10. Blinding. So we connect the points, and what we have is this line. And now probably we have to find the intersection points where they're intersecting. So based on my calculation, they're intersecting here and over here. So that's basically x equals to 1 or like 0.9 actually. And 6.2, 6.4 or 6.4, I think. And for the other one, it's x equals to, so that's less than 7. So 6.7 or 8, 6.8. And y value is 9.2. So these are the solutions I'm getting for the intersection of the curve and the line. This is your answer to part 3. Question 7 says area of some lands in the ratio park is to gardens to playground is 11 is to 2 is to 3. The park has an area of 4,620 meters square. Work out the area of the gardens and the area of the playground. So for the area of the gardens, that's going to be 2 over sum of the ratio numbers, which is 16, and then times by the total area of the park, which is 4,620. Wait, no. So what we'll do is first we'll find the total area first. So 4,620 is the area of the park. So 4,620 equals to 11 over the sum of the numbers in the ratio, which is 16 times x. X is your total area. So what we're going to do is we're going to first find the area. So that's 4,620 times 16 and then divided by 11, which is going to give us 6,720 meters square. That is total area. Now for the gardens, it's 2/16 of 6,720, which is basically equal to 840 meters square. And for the playground, that's going to be 3/16 of 6,720, which is basically equal to 1,260 meters square. A very common mistake that you can make over here is that instead of reading the question properly, you could take this as a total area of the land and, multiply the fractions by 4,620. So avoid making that mistake, read the question properly, highlight the keywords, and then start solving it. Part B says the area of 4,620 meters square is made up of parks and grassland. 18% of the park area is parks, so we need to show that the grassland area is 3,788.4. So if 18% is park, that means grassland is going to be 100 minus 18, which is 82%. So 82% of 4,620 is going to give us the area of grassland, which is basically 3,788.4 meters square, as shown in the question. Second part says seed for the grassland is sold in bags. The seed in one bag covers an area of 280 meters square. The bags cost $72 each for the first 5 bags, and then $58 each for any extra bags. Then $58 each for any extra bags. Calculate the cost of the seed needed to cover the grassland. So the seed in one bag covers an area of 280 meters square. The bags cost $72 each for the first 5 bags, and then $58 for any extra bags. So what we're going to do first is that we're going to find the number of bags used. Now we're talking about grassland. Area of grassland is found in the previous question, which was 3,788.4 meters square. So to find how many bags are used, I'm going to divide the total area of the grassland by the area that is covered by one bag of seed. So 3,788.4 divided by 280, and that equals to 13.53 bags. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the cost breakdown. So they've told us that the first 5 bags cost $72. So 5 bags is 72 times 5, which is basically equal to $360. 13.53, I'm going to round that to 14 because obviously we can't get the bags in like decimals. So if we subtract 5 from 14, that gives us 9. So the remaining extra bags are 9 bags. Extra 9 bags. So that's basically 9 times 58. And that gives us the cost of $552. So total cost is going to be the sum of 360 and 552, and that equals to $882. That's your answer. Part C says the owners of the land buy new equipment for the playground. They borrow $8,500 for 4 years at a rate of 6.5% per year compound interest. Calculate the amount they repay at the end of the 4 years. So it says compound interest. So compound interest has a formula of P times 1 plus R over 100 to the power of T. P is your initial amount, R is your interest rate, and T is your time for the interest. So that's going to be 8,500 because that's what he borrowed. 1 plus rate of interest is 6.5 over 100 to the power of 4. So this is going to give us 10,934.96. Since it says correct to the nearest dollar, so that's going to be 10,935. That's your answer. Part D says the cafe in the park sells water in bottles of A, B, and C. Work out which bottle is the best value. You must show all your working. So to figure out which one of these bottles is the best value, we need to find what is the cost of 1 ml for each of these. If 330 ml costs $1.98, 1 ml will be 1.98 divided by 330, and this is for bottle A. And that's going to give us 0.006. Same for bottle B. We'll divide the cost by the volume. So 3.20 divided by 500 is going to be 0.0064. Then for bottle C, that's going to be 5.10 divided by 750 ml, which is basically equal to 0.0068. So if we compare the value for each of these, we can see that the most we're getting out is question 8 says, the diagram shows a plan ABCDE of the floor of a room in Joe's house. F is a point inside the room. Show that EF is 1.9. So this is EF. So if you look at the parallel sides, this is AB and this is CD. Since EF is a part of CD, so EF is going to be CD minus AB, which is 5.5 minus 3.6, and that gives us the value of 1.9 meters. Then it says work out AF. AF is over here. Same thing. We have BC and ED parallel to AF. As you can see, AF is part of BC and so is ED. So AF is BC minus ED, which is 4.7 minus 1.7, and that is 3 meters for AF. Next part, it says calculate the area of the floor. So for the area of the floor, as you can see, we have a composite shape, and I'm going to split this into two things. This is one shape, and the other shape is this trapezium over here. Yeah. So for the first shape, call this A1. So A1 is going to be 3.6 times 4.7, which is basically equal to 16.92 meters square. Then for A2, that's 1/2 times the height, which is EF, times the sum of parallel sides, which is BC and ED. So that's 4.7 plus 1.7. And that equals to 6.08 meters square. So total area is the sum of A1 and A2, which is 16.92 plus 6.08. And that is giving us 23 meters square. That's your answer. Part C says the cupboard in the room is in the shape of a cuboid. The area of the base of the cupboard is 1.2 meters square. And the height of the cupboard is 2.3 meters. Calculate the volume of the cupboard. So it's a cuboid, so volume is basically area, which is 1.2 times the height, which is 2.3. So that equals to 2.76 meter cube. Whenever you're trying to find the volume, remember that you are always multiplying the base area with the height. So in case you forget the formula for any shape, Just remember this: base area times height, or the cross-section area times height, and you'll be able to solve the question. Part D says Joe buys 275 floor tiles, which cost $1.64 each. Calculate the total cost of the floor tiles. So for total cost, we multiply the cost of each tile by the total number of tiles, and that is equal to $451. Part E says Joe builds a patio in the shape of a semicircle with radius 2.3 meters. Calculate the area of the patio. So area of a semicircle is pi r square over 2. So we multiply pi with 2.3 squared and divide the result by 2. And that is going to give us 8.31 meters squared. That's your answer. Next question says that Sarah rides a bicycle at a speed of 420 meters per minute. Work out its speed in kilometers per hour. So to go from meters per minute to kilometers per hour, we know 1 kilometer has 1,000 meters. So 1 meter is 1 over 1,000 kilometers. Similarly, 1 hour is 60 minutes. So 1 minute is 1 over 60 hours. So what we'll do is 420 divided by 1,000, then divided by 1 over 60, which is basically equal to 25.2 kilometers per hour. Part B says Jan cycles a distance of 51 kilometers. She starts at 11:55. She has a rest stop for 25 minutes. Then she finishes at 14:41. We have to calculate her average speed in kilometers per hour for the time she's cycling. So first thing first, let's find the time that she's cycling. She's starting at 11:55, and then she has a rest stop for 25 minutes. And then she's finishing at 14:41. So we start at 11:55, then we go to 12:55, 13:55, then we go to 14:41. So that's 1 hour, another 1 hour. So between 13:55 and 14:41, we have 46 minutes. So total time is 2 hours and 46 minutes. Now there's a rest time for 25 minutes. So cycling time is going to be 2 hours, 46 minutes minus 25 minutes. So that's 2 hours and 21 minutes. So now we can find the average speed, which is total distance, 51 kilometers, divided by the total time. That's 2 hours, 21 minutes. So 2 hours, 21 minutes in just hours is going to be 21 divided by 60 plus 2. So 21 divided by 60 is 0.35 plus 2 is 2.35 hours. In case you're confused, we're converting minutes into hours by dividing by 60, and that's 0.35 hours. So then we add that to 2, which is 2.35. So 51 divided by 2.35, and that gives us the answer of 21.7 kilometers per hour for the time that she's cycling.